work glasses on. Anyways, I'm going out for a few rides today because today Uber launched the Upfront fares, so you're going to see how much a ride is going to be. Very similar to Uber Eats, but Uber driving has never done it. So I'm going to take a few rides, see what it's like, see if it's sometimes accurate. I know they said that like the fares are going to change, so like a little bit more for shorter rides, a little bit less for longer rides. I'm not really sure why, but we're going to take a few rides today and see what happens, and I'll let you guys know. I average more in those 2 days than I have in a while. So I do want to point out a few things, is that I drive a large SUV, so I do qualify for Uber XL rides and Uber Comfort rides. Where I live and where I drive from most of the time take me into downtown Orlando. But even with that, the change for me was significant. So the first thing is I never realized how short of a time you have to accept the ride. So with Uber Eats, like you have, it feels like you have like a minute. It's probably not. You have time to review the order so you can see where it's going, where it's coming, the estimated pay, the miles, all that fun stuff. Because before with Uber driving, you didn't see anything. You just, you saw if it was going to be a long ride, so over 45 minutes, and kind of the general direction. But you just normally always hit accept and moved on. Especially if you're in a ride, just accept and you move on. You don't really look at anything. So now that they offer this upfront, you really have to literally skim everything in a very short amount of time. And with me doing these videos, I had to skim very quickly and screenshot so that I can show you guys these things. So that's the one thing that was a little bit very overwhelming, especially Thursday. It was very busy. So the moment that I signed on, I was getting offers left and right. I'm trying to screenshot, it was a lot. We're gonna get into Thursday. I averaged actually about $32 an hour, which is insane, and I'm happy if I stay around the 20 an hour range. And so to average 32, and I was online for exactly an hour and 53 minutes. And I made $64.93 in an hour and 53 minutes, which is very quick for me. So I know with Uber Eats, we normally, when we look at them, we try and average $2 an hour. That's kind of always been like the minimum. There's some cases where you let it go, or some cases where you let the mileage be a little bit higher, but we really try and stay within a certain mile range, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I really had to sit and think about if that is something that I wanted to apply to driving as well. And truthfully, for me, I think that answer is no. So there was a few rides that I declined, some that are super short. They did say when they came out with this, and I'll post a screenshot of like what the email said, that like shorter rides would be a bit longer, a bit higher in pay, and the longer rides would be a bit lower in pay. And I think that's because they want you, for those shorter rides, to still feel like you're getting a bit more money for, let's say, like a 6-minute ride. So I did decline a few, and I'll post some screenshots up and actually have them here so I can talk to you about them while I'm doing this. So one of the rides that I actually declined was a 35.21 mile trip. It was Uber X. They wanted to pay me $24.46. The person was only 1.6 miles away. I did not want to do that because even though I'm not going to do the whole like $2 a mile, that was a 49-minute ride. So the likelihood of me getting another ride and completing that ride within that hour probably wasn't going to happen. So I didn't want to do that one. And that was probably like the second one, and they came back to back on Thursday. Then I have one that was 1.78 miles for the trip, but remember, Uber does not consider the time that it takes for you to get to the restaurant or to the customer as part of your pay. So if we're only looking at that and how they think of it, 1.78 miles for $4.15, probably not bad. But that was still too low for me. I don't like to accept super low rides for the most part. I like to keep it anywhere from 6 and up, is what I've decided with Uber for driving for now. Then we had 4.86 mile trip, but 4.6 miles away. So almost equal time for me to just get to the customer and then drive them for $5.48. That one I didn't do. Again, high mileage away. You're 8.1 miles away for a 4.52 trip. If it was just a 4.52 trip, truthfully, I probably still wouldn't have done it, but I could maybe be like, okay, well, someone will pick that up. This one wasn't that bad, but it was just going to a city that I don't like to go into, so it's too far away from where I like to drive. And I believe this was my first trip that I did take. So UberX, it was an 11.53 mile trip and 2.5 miles away. The customer ended up being less than that from when I accepted it. And then the 11.53. So the good thing about this ride is it took me into downtown Orlando. And I know when I'm in downtown Orlando, I can get good rides. And I'm not far from the airport. So I took that one and I figured 11.53 miles, not bad for 942. So I went ahead and took that one. It took me into a really good spot and kind of started off my day really well. And then this is when I realized that it's very hard to review an order while you're driving because A, you're driving, but B, you don't really have time to like look at it and review everything and screenshot and make sure it's something that you want to take. But immediately 11.07 miles for $20.75. Even if I didn't get the peak pay with $2 extra, I still would have accepted that. That's a great trip. They were 5 minutes away and they were actually closer to where I dropped off the patient at, the customer at. Sorry, I work in healthcare full time, so I went to Disney, dropped them off, and literally picked them up at the same hotel, the Disney's Pop Resort, and took them to the airport. And they were actually my last ride for that day. So again, I averaged $32 an hour. I made $64.93 in an hour and 53 minutes. Great timing. So let's talk about Friday. Friday was actually a lot of fun. So again, I'm an Uber XL driver. 16.35 miles. Again, was taking me into downtown Orlando. Great location, perfect. And we had a few other trips that I don't think I screenshot. Then my last trip was another Uber XL. They were 5.3 miles away, which was actually a little bit of a drive, but it was a slow spell. So I actually almost took an Uber Eats order in that time because where I was dropped off from my last ride, it was like a pretty dead area. And so I took 2 more rides. I almost took an Uber Eats and I did, and then I got this. So they were 5.3 miles away, 14.73 miles for the trip. They were my last one. Great group of people my age, actually. And they actually ended up tipping me $20, which does not happen. And actually, let me know if you drive for Uber or Lyft, do you get tips often? Because I definitely don't. I get tips more often when I do Uber Eats. So when I do get tips from driving, it's rare, but they're normally really good. Never $20 good, but normally pretty good. So I ended Friday in 2.5 hours, $80.92, and ended my week with just over $200. Honestly, I feel like the pricing has changed a little bit. A few of those were Uber XL, so I get paid a little bit more with Uber XL, but overall, I feel like it can be hit or miss, but it's a great way for you to average out. So even if you took those $4 rides, if you took 4 of them, $5 an hour, you hit over $20 an hour, which is really great. So I definitely think that they've changed things up a little bit. I don't think personally from my driving, and I've been driving with them for a little over 4 years, that it was like that before at all. So I definitely think things have changed for the better. I hope it stays like that. My plan is to still continue how I do with balancing working full time and my personal life, you know, do 2.5, maybe 3 hours, you know, 4 days a week. If I do that, I can make decent money, because even if I didn't get that $20 tip, making $60 in 2.5 hours is really good money. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think below. Do you think it's changed? Did you see any difference since it started on Thursday? I'll definitely be doing it again Monday through Thursday this upcoming week, and we'll keep you guys updated with how it is. If you are new here, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.